Let's get this show going, man.
Welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy podcast, a Washington Commanders podcast for fans by fans, with your hosts, Jessy Martin.
Because 90% of them are wrong. They're fucking wrong.
Max Taman.
You've got a plate of shit and you've got a bowl of shit. They're the same thing.
Scott Hartley.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
John Taman.
What the hell was I talking about?
I just don't get it. I don't get it.
And now, the world's worst podcast host, John Taman.
Hey everybody, that's me with no camera on. That's why I'm the world's worst podcast host, because I always click everything except one button. I'll tell you something, fellas, and I'll tell you.
Reason, John.
Well, I am in a role that I am not born for. But I tell you what, I might be the world's worst podcast host, but I am kicking the rest of the world's ass when it comes to podcast thumbnails. Eh?
That's very good. I like that.
Motherfucker's badass, ain't it? I'll tell you what, right there, that's a podcast thumbnail. So while I may boof it up on the fucking buttons, it really doesn't make any difference because I can do that kind of shit, and that's why you're here, because you looked at that and you went, oh wow, I want to go in there. I think those guys.
Quarterback and a pretty good receiver.
Oh, shut up with it, pretty good. Oh my god. All right, so shots fired right off the bat. Let's see, is Scott G even in here yet? There he is.
Yeah,
Ta-ta-da! The team's traded for damaged goods. We'll get to that, Scott. But okay, so right off the bat, Jesse goes after. So to give everybody a little bit of background on this, by the way, my good friend from southeastern Virginia, Jesse Martin, over there growing his winter beard. How you doing, sir? And I got to say, it looks better right about there. Not that thing you had all summer where it was all cut down real short and everything like that, and you look like, you barely got over your braces. But, like, right there. And before it gets down to the, I'm a goddamn...
ZZ top.
Right, to the, you need to get your Trump button when you get it down to here. But that right there, that looks good. And I tell you what.
I'm trying to fit in. I'm working on so I can get that Trump button.
Pair it with a nice hat.
Yeah.
You're set to go. Pair it with a nice hat. All right, so anyway... that's my good friend Jesse, and I forgot where we were going with this. Oh, right, because the discussion was, is Terry an elite receiver? And we'll get to that as soon as I introduce my good friend down here on the bottom right-hand corner, all shaven up and looking like he's got to get carded at the liquor store now. Hey, man, you wanna... show me your ID.
If your son...
he does look older than me. He's got a mustache and he looks older than me.
He looks older than you.
Every time I see a picture of your son, he looks like he's ready to beat the fuck out of somebody. He's like, why are you taking my picture? So our good friend Scott Hartley.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, work's obviously kicking my ass. Obviously, you have to
They
be
made
fresh.
you shave.
Yeah, we have to be freshly clean shaven now because we have to wear masks within one of the facilities where we had a fire, unfortunately, just over a week or so ago.
We'll talk about that off the microphones, but
yes.
Yeah, you had some accident at work, and that's all right. We'll leave it at that. I wish I had some kind of music to play for Max down there, but so I don't. But there's Max down there. We'll just go, here is Max, and the Max is right down there.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, well,
that was fantastic.
Max, how you doing?
It's Friday, and Astro's barking at you, so it's great.
You say that every goddamn
Because it's a Friday or a Monday. You know what? Next week it'll be a Wednesday.
Take some fucking show notes, jeez. Come up with a better opening than that. John's coming to me right off the bat here. Got to come up with something.
Look. Get your camera working, then you can come at me. All right.
All right, well, okay. Today's Scott's appearance is, of course, brought to you by Professor Abner Woo's Dung Beetle Farm and Playset. Everyone knows kids just love playing with turds, and Professor Woo's Dung Beetle Farm Playset lets them play with poo and learn while they do. Each playset comes with 2 genuine African dung beetle, 1 plastic view-through beetle farm, and you supply the poo. Every day, just leave your poop on the special feeding tray and watch nature's little turd burglar get to work rolling your poop into a ball and storing it away to eat during the winter. Mom and Dad, your kids can learn while having fun, so this holiday season, be sure to give your kids the Professor Woo Dung Beetle Farm and Play Set. Scott Hartley, brought to you by Professor Abner Woo's Dung Beetle Farm and Play Set.
So Abner Woo is killing it.
He's versatile. He's nearly as versatile as a singer I know, but I'm not too sure on that.
He went to the great detail to include to even put on the box that the dung is not included.
Well, right. Well, the dung is not included. This is a recyclable product here. You can just feed these freaking things all day long, at least once a day. So, and you can see it's stinky
I can't
fun
wait
for
till
the
they
entire
open
family.
up a Abner Woo's right across the street from Walmart. I think
They'll put one in one of the few remaining malls left, and it'll be on that shelf that's called "As Seen on a Podcast." Abner Woo's. Have
you ever been into one of those
playset.
as seen on TV?
Yes. Yes.
Shops.
Yes. I walk through them thinking, hey, I might find something I like.
I know. I do every time. Every time I go in, every time I'm like, man,
it's just shit.
I remember watching. I'm like, dude, I want that, but I don't want to fucking call and order it. So go in there, and you realize it's just a bunch of shit, like fucking. I mean, low quality bullshit.
Yeah, it's just garbage. Yeah, the slap chop, you smack it one time and that's the end of it. And it fucks up your beard and mustache and makes you have to get a shave. Sorry, Scott.
The only thing that I've ever gotten that was worth a shit was a hose that shrinks up really small.
Yeah, I have two of those. They're really good.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah, I have another one, and it works when it's really cold.
Stop it.
When it's really cold. Like after I jump in the pool.
I can see where he was going. You can see it a mile away, can you? Oh, Jesse, you rack 'em up, son. John will pot 'em. That's how it goes.
Okay, well, everybody go get your Abner Woo's Dung Beetle Farm and playset. Thanks for Scott. All right, so, okay, look. Is Terry elite? This is the question. All right, we had a big, long chat about this on Sunday during the game, and it's been going on for weeks. Jesse, you start us off because you have a very firm opinion on this.
Yes, and my opinion, it doesn't mean that I am a Terry hater.
No.
Terry's
Dude, it's either all in or all out in the world today.
Terry's a great receiver. He's really, really good. But when you think of something that's elite, you think of something that's at the top of their game. And if you watched last night, I didn't watch the game. I just got a message at 3 o'clock in the morning when I woke up, showing these stats of.
I don't even know the score, so I don't want to. I'm going to watch the highlights later.
When 267 yards, I think Chase had
63, but yes,
63. 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. That is.
He had another one that was right down to the 1 yard line. It was like a 35-yard pass that he almost scored on in the first quarter, I think. Set up their first touchdown.
And he did it on 11 catches.
When you're Terry's had like 10 catches, but he's 10, 11 catches before, but nothing to the extent of what Jamar Chase. I mean, he is a run after catch. He is a touchdown machine. He's up to 10 touchdowns already this year. I mean, that is an elite receiver. That's an elite receiver. Terry's a very good receiver. He's a top 20 receiver in this league, but he's not a top 5 receiver in this league. Jamar Chase, that's your definition of elite right there.
All right, so sorry, because every time I start a fucking podcast or I start a meeting or anything like that, my dog decides he needs to go the fuck out or come the fuck in, whichever one it is, and I missed all of that. But I know what you're usually going to say. He's not an elite receiver. I tend to agree.
He's an elite teammate.
I tend to agree. Yeah, he's an elite teammate, that's for sure. But I tend to agree. He's not an elite receiver. He's an excellent receiver. I still put him
really good
in the top 15 of the league. I think he's that good.
Debatable.
I mean, when you talk about elite, that's like the top 5 best.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, John. I think that Jesse's probably right. He's wide receiver 1 on this team, without question.
Right.
Without question.
Right.
Is he in the top 10 in this league? I don't know. He's definitely not in the. He's definitely not in the top 5. That's for certain. But you're not getting. And we tried to talk about this. Is it speed? Is it route running? What defines elite? I mean, Jamar Chase's stats. You just gave it out. Yeah.
In my opinion, all right. I already talked, Max. It's your turn. After Scott, go ahead. Finish, Scott. Sorry.
No, go on. I'm just saying.
No, I'm bossing this shit around here.
No, that's kind of where we are. Max, you go ahead, mate.
Just regarding Terry and regarding Jamar Chase, just with that head-to-head, it's not really a fair comparison just because of the quarterbacks they've had. I mean, what's it been up to now? Terry's caught passes from 12 quarterbacks in his career.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Is Joe Burrow an elite quarterback?
Is that an actual
in the
question?
NFL today? Yes, it is.
Yes,
it's an actual question in the NFL today. Now, when you say to me elite, all right, then what you're saying to me with that word is that you can start comparing them to historical greats, right?
For me, what makes Joe Burrow elite is that in his career, this would be his 5th year, in the 4 seasons he's had prior, he's been hurt twice, and he's been at least to the championship game. Mm-hmm. Like, there's nothing that he does other than win or be out for the season.
Okay.
And frankly, when you look around the league, taking Joe Burrow, how many quarterbacks can you say you would rather have than him?
All right,
because you can count it on one hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say 2.
Okay, so when I say elite means Hall of Famer, all right? Hall of Famer, right? So when we're talking elite receivers right now, we're talking Justin Jefferson, who I think is definitely on the track, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing that you've always said to me, though, is that when it's a Hall of Fame player, everyone nowadays could make the Hall of Fame just based off of their numbers. So you have to think of how they are as the player. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, by that argument, what about DeAndre Hopkins? In his heyday, he didn't have an elite quarterback.
Too short of a
time. He was
time.
still an elite wide receiver.
He might be again.
D-Hop is, yeah.
He might be again. Patrick is
but
fucking
I'm
found him.
talking about 4 or 5 years ago. When he's
Right.
You know what I mean?
He, in my opinion, he sits down there in that same category as what the fuck is his name from Jacksonville for so many years? His name escapes me off
Jimmy
the top.
Smith, Keenan Marquette-Isle.
Right, Jimmy Smith, that kind of a guy who just is right there on the cusp. But when you say elite, all right, I'm of the thought that at any given time during any era of football, there's probably 3 to 4 Hall of Famers at the main positions. All right, when I say main positions, I mean your skill positions. There's maybe 3 or 4 quarterbacks that are on a Hall of Fame track. There's 3 or 4 great ones at any given point in history. When you say elite, I think that they can start to be compared to those people. So when you say Joe Burrow's an elite quarterback, I start thinking about him as comparing to John Elway or Joe Montana or and elite quarterbacks, Peyton Manning and things like that. Is there a difference between that kind of elite and elite for the times? We'll go to
yes,
you,
I think there is.
All right.
Well, it is because it's kind of a different game from back then too.
True, but I'd put Tom Brady.
You may want to put
first
like Tom
conversation.
Brady, Peyton Manning. Put Joe Burrow in the Tom Brady and Peyton Manning bubble rather than the Dan Marino, Joe Montana type of bubble. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, see, I think Brady fits in any conversation in any era, and when you're talking,
he played in like 2 of them.
well, not only that, but and so does Manning.
But just with the success that Brady had, it's for me the difference between Brady and Manning is kind of the same reason, like the difference between like a Phillip Rivers, because Phillip Rivers was never able to beat Brady at all. Manning at least did it, but Brady is so far and beyond anything that Manning did in his career that if you take that comparison of those 3 to today's game, you've got Allen, you've got Mahomes, you've got Burrow.
You're right, Paulie. Sure. Paulie wants us to get back to the wide receiver rail. All right,
the wide receiver. But see, in today's game, there's so many fucking good wide receivers. I mean, I don't remember.
Everybody's got them. Everybody's number one is a good wide receiver.
I don't remember in any era that I actually remember seeing so many damn good receivers. I mean,
product of the rules, product of the game now.
Yeah, and I think it's also a product of these receivers now. I mean, most of these kids are growing up playing 7-on-7, and all that is just airing the ball out so much. I think that's kind of helping it. And then the rule changes too to favor the offensive side of the ball. But yeah, there's a lot of good receivers. There's a lot of great receivers in this league, and there's a few elite, like top of the game, like Justin Jefferson.
I think you could say
Chase,
your elites are about
Chase.
the top 6.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
And then underneath that, you have your greats, which is about 7 to 15 in there. And then that's like the tier ranking. For me, Terry's in tier 2.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking
a guy
at
like
it.
Stephon Diggs reached for elite and didn't quite make it. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. I mean, you've got Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, C.D. Lamb, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle. Then you're into your Garrett Wilsons, Puka Nakuas, Devontae Smiths, Deebo Samuels. DJ Moore even is very good receiver. Cooper Kupp, Nico Collins, Diggs, Olave, Metcalf. Where's Terry on that list?
Yeah,
he's up there pretty high on.
And you know what I mean? I'm trying to.
As far as I'm concerned, he's between 12 and 15. He's 12 to 15, 10 to 15.
Yeah,
so probably about 12, 13.
I personally still think that's too high.
Well, it's got to be given on what he's doing now for his overall career
in the off season. No, and this is my point. You can't. There is no caveat with quarterbacks played because there's been plenty of receivers that have not had a good quarterback.
That's why I kind of sneered on Tyreek Hill. You know, he's had no quarterback this year. And he's disappeared. Sorry, Jessy.
Still produced though, but they've still produced.
Right,
DeAndre Hopkins, case in point. I mean,
yeah.
Is Kirk Cousins great? No, he's not. He's a above average quarterback. Justin Jefferson's
playing with a blockhead.
You cannot put Terry in that category just because he hasn't had good receivers. I mean, good quarterback play.
I agree because I think it's chicken and the egg too when it comes to quarterback and receiver. All right, what makes Jerry Rice great? Is it Joe Montana or is it Jerry Rice? Right.
I mean, there's an argument on a given week that you could put Terry towards 8 to 12. That argument could be made. But Jessy, I'm going to pose to you just because you've been claiming that there was 25, now you're down to 15. For tomorrow's show, write a list of what receivers you feel are better.
I ain't
than
got
Terry.
time to do that tomorrow, but that's definitely.
I
had already planned on
because
next week we have like 5 podcasts in 6 days.
I'm curious what your list would be.
I do have a life outside of this right here.
Yeah, but if you're feeling that definitive about it, that list should take you 5 minutes.
Well, to me, when you say the word elite, I think you're tickling Hall of Fame. That's what I think. When you say elite, you're a guy that's in this era that has a shot at it. And some guys, like 3 years ago, you just said Stephon Diggs might have been elite, but now he's not. Now he's really good.
I'd be willing to bet.
Things change.
And this is taken skill wise, not personality and what it means to the team. I'd be willing to bet I could probably name 20 receivers that talent alone, nothing else, talent alone, I would pick over Terry McLaurin.
Okay, 20. That's a big number. Okay, we're going to hold you to that. We want to see that list by Thanksgiving, sir. We want to see that list. 20 receivers better than Terry McLaurin. He's on number 21 on that list. All right, I'll tell you what. Here's what we're going to do.
Number 21, and Keith Gray just had a little tickle.
He just cummed in his pants. Actually,
he did creamed in his jeans. All right, and of course, Scott's over there being quiet and reading his Muscle Man magazine.
Never get rid of that.
Max has never seen that. Never saw that. Scott reading his Muscle Man magazine. Well, here's Scott sitting on the couch with nothing to do. So. All right, well, welcome to the show, Max. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look ahead. All right, well, this is the midway point. We are at 7-2 at the 9-game point. It's a 17-game season. At halftime last week.
A little bit of the news.
Oh, news? Oh, yeah, we got to go to Marshawn Lattimore. Sorry about that. I forgot. We got news.
Yeah, I pulled up the rundown.
All right, well, let's hear it. So we got a news here.
We traded for Marshawn Lattimore. All right, moving on.
We did do that. Sorry about that.
No, look, we've been saying it for a long time on this podcast. We need more help at cornerback. And
we were unanimous.
Lo and behold, Adam Peters went into the kitchen, started putting the oil in the pan, and started cooking up, man. And this is what we got. Now, the question is, what do we think of the what we had to give up for him? Essentially, it is a third round. A third rounder. What was it, Max?
Third, fourth, and sixth.
A third, fourth, and sixth. Yeah,
and the third was our second third round, so it was later.
So
in the round.
that will be the later, which is I think this is the
one we got
for own, right.
That's the pick we owned.
Yes,
yeah,
and the sixth round pick is the one that we got from the Saints for Ridgeway at the beginning of the season.
So essentially, we gave up.
We gave them back their 6th round pick.
Yes.
Like,
we just gave them
we kind
Ridgeway.
of traded Jahan Dotson and Ridgeway for.
Ridgeway and Dotson for Lattimore.
We got a 5th round pick back,
and we
too,
got,
right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So and supposedly that 5th round pick is only probably going to be a few picks apart. I think.
Yeah. It's going to be It's
yeah.
essentially 8 picks from being a 4th round pick.
It's a 5th round pick. When you get that long, the order of it doesn't really matter. It's more just what you can find.
And
You know,
we
I trust Adam
darts at
Peters.
it.
He finds some shit, man, out
We
there.
have
In the friggin'
still
I'm
have
not
3
saying a
top
word about
100
anything he
picks.
might not find with a 5th round pick. It's not when we talk about picks anymore. Honestly, the 6th and 7th round are just as important. Well, I wouldn't say just as important as the 1st and 2nd, but we find players there, man. Everybody's finding players there now these days.
Yeah, when you're a bad team, you find players there. But when you're a good team, those later round picks, they're not going to matter as much
And,
because
what I mean is,
chances are they're not going to make the team.
There's a big difference between
a lot of
12 and
turnover.
20 and 112 and 120.
Yeah, I know what you're
You
saying.
know, it's like
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. That's
And talent drops all the time, round by
put
round
that
by
there.
round. So you're going well.
big book.
But my point
Yeah,
is,
exactly. Yeah.
I have my
but
big
my
book
point is
of
that's
math
why
knowledge
San
there.
Francisco. That's why San Francisco didn't care about later round picks because their
Mm-hmm.
team was already built. When you have an already built team, you're not necessarily looking to fill holes anymore. You know, you might find a nice depth piece, or you might find a diamond in a rough later.
diamond in the rough.
Most of those picks, man. If you're a good team without any holes in it, you know, it's the first few rounds.
You
that
can
you're really
afford to
worried
throw
about.
away what
Yeah.
they did on Trey Lance.
Correct.
And then you can still say, fuck it. We're going to hit the bullseye from behind ourselves. We're going to put the dart in our ass and fart it into the board and pick Brock Purdy.
But the thing that's weird with that is the whole situation. What you're saying there is, if you build a team and if the team is already built, then you don't need to worry about your late round picks. We're gonna have to be careful here because we're gonna have to probably re-sign 20 players minimum.
Sure.
That are on
That's
this team.
why we have
and they're all gonna want.
$120 million.
We've got a lot of cap.
I mean, I worked it out last night, and I got the cap numbers here. We've got 104 million cap space so far going into
Hang on a
2025.
second here. Scott's
I love
List of the
that.
Week brought to you by Abner Woo's Dung Beetle
Scouts
Farm and
is late
Place.
as always. We already
Scouts
is
we
late.
already had the Terry conversation. Scouts.
Yeah,
Oh,
man,
you
he's,
missed it.
he's good. He's good.
Sorry.
So yeah, what was I going to say there? So 104 mil next year into 2025. You add on to that potentially. Well, at the moment we've got 23 million cap space. So if you take 10 across, we're looking at 114. You haven't even looked at John Allen's contract yet, which
We
is
might
8
have
mil.
we'll take it all across. You know, what
It depends on what. Yeah, I get that. It all goes across, but you might end up spending a bit more.
We're only spending 600,000.
605,000 for Lattimore. Yeah. But there's going to be other injuries potentially, and guys you have to sign off the street. So you could probably argue 3 mil there is going to go. So you might have
any
might have
signing
100
that we have to off the street. It's not going to be for much money.
You might have 125 mil realistically for the whole to spend next year, which is massive. That would put us third in cap space next year out of the
That's
entire
excellent.
league.
It's pretty good.
And
Pretty good.
you know, in our position, when we used to talk about cap space for the last 20 years, it was like, oh boy, look how much we can spend because we're going to go have to fix all these fucking problems. And now, if reports can be believed, players are looking to come to us for more than just a payday.
Well,
so
that's what Frankie Louvu did.
Well, yeah, I know, but now we're seeing
He was offered more from Carolina
at the trade deadline. Players were asking their agents if they could please get traded to us. You know, and it's not like it was in the old days where they could just say, "Oh yeah, please set us down in front of fucking Vinny and fucking Dan, Vinny Serrato and Dan." Yeah, you know what I almost said, Vinny Serrato and Dan, just to collect, right? To do the Hainsworth, but so now we are in a position where we don't have to be as buyer hungry as we used to be.
We don't have to be. We don't have to break the bank on these $100 million mans on the Albert Hainsworths of the world, and we also don't have to find the deals as later on in the Snyder era.
I mean, if you look at like this
the
past
Bruce
free
era, they always wanted a good deal. Now we have the people, the adults in the kitchen that know how to cook.
Right,
Matt,
this past free agent cycle is that everyone that we got, that we didn't get the top guys, but everyone we got was solid depth pieces at reasonable money, so that way we actually put ourselves in a position for
We
this.
got a lot of starters too,
and with Lattimore,
and they're performing.
We've got him on the books for 2 more seasons. That's the
that's the other. Well, we knew he's 28. So first off, previously I did get all the way through a topic and make it to a point at the end that made sense. So we're doing all right here. But all right, Lattimore's 28, so we know he's in his prime. We talked about this last week, and I think he was kind of my target guy. And the thing is this. When we talk about the previous regime and the bargain basement scratch and dent shopping that Bruce Allen used to do, especially in the draft, this guy graded out to be a first-round talent until he fucking broke his neck skydiving or whatever the hell used to happen.
Yeah,
Lattimore's fucking hamstring. How troublesome is this to you? He's missed 22 games in the last 3 years, something like that.
But not because of that though.
Yeah, if you look at his injuries,
still,
if you look he missed a lot of time because of a lacerated kidney. That to me is
that's a fluke accident.
That's a fluke accident.
Yeah, that's a fluke.
So if you watch the way he plays, he hits like a fucking car accident.
So he's not a pussy. I mean, so he had a lacerated kidney. Scott, you said people the other day. You said people with lacerated kidneys were pussies. So
those were the
two.
What
Scott said.
His 2 like big injuries that he missed some time. So yeah, he's played like 20 games in the past, like 43 or so. Those numbers could be a little bit off, but he had 2 pretty big injuries that players get sprained ankles. That shit happens.
Yeah, sure.
And he's missed a couple games. Our guy in the chat, a valid user, says who's going to stop George Pickens. We're going to get to that in a little while. But we know
we'll get to
Marshawn's not going to play today. And I do believe they're trying to go ahead and get him healthy for
Thursday,
the big game on Thursday.
We didn't trade for Marshawn Lattimore to play against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
correct.
We traded for Marshawn Lattimore to stop the people
to win
in
the
NFC,
division.
To win the division and just try and stop players in the playoffs that we're going to have to face.
Right, like some of these elite
receivers that we're going
to
be facing in the playoffs.
Right. Yep. Well, so the thing about it is, for me, it is concerning. All right, that hamstring, hammies are weird, man, and they don't heal. They can linger. All right, and that kind of bothers me a little bit that we went ahead and did that. But the major difference is, what I said all the way from April on is that I have faith in this coaching staff. This coaching staff that they've put together is so good. That's where I draw all of my faith from. So whereas we used to shop in the scratch and dent bin, and we used to freaking look at players that had all kinds of busted up shit.
Adam Peters and the
right.
Staff
I don't
comes to this stuff.
Exactly. I think Peters. I think he knows better than to go ahead and buy something that He probably called up Bruce Allen and said, "Would you buy Marshawn Lattimore?" And Allen went, "No," and he probably okay, good. And then said, "Let's do that. Let's buy him."
Well, look at
to go on his. Hold on, Scott. To go on his point, and I just forgot what I was going to say. So go ahead. Scott.
Valid user is correct. You are a valid user. Hamstring injuries are almost as bad as ACL injuries. They tend to linger.
They are not. They are certainly not. No.
Hey, look, I'm just trying to give a new guy here some props.
And I get that, but if you've ever had an ACL injury, mate, it hurts like fuck. I've been there. But no, in all seriousness, looking at his hamstring injury, I listened to Adam Peters' press conference, and Adam was saying, look, we've had the medical history. The doctors from our end have spoken to his doctors. You wouldn't pull a trade-off like this, giving up the compensation that you gave up, knowing that other teams are after him, to say, well, okay, we may be the best offer that you've got on the table, to then trade him here, especially with the contract that he's got over the next 2 years, 18 mil and then at 18.5 mil. That's a lot of money, but it's top cornerback money, which is absolutely fine by my accounts. I thought this was a hamstring injury that was a Devontae Adams hamstring injury. This is a guy who's on a 2-7 team, who doesn't want to play for the team and thinks to himself, hey, my head coach has just been fired. I need to get out of town and get somewhere else. I'll talk to my agent and see who's sniffing around. Then as soon as we come sniffing around on trade deadline day, it's like, well, okay, I can get out of here. I can go to Washington. I was expecting the hamstring to be currently, it's okay again. And I think, you know what? It's one of them, man. I think that in all honesty, he will be fine for Philly. I'm looking forward to him making his debut against Philly.
The point I was going to make earlier, after my brain fart, the thing about this contract is there's no more guaranteed money. So, say the injuries pile up, or say he plays next season and it just doesn't have a great year, or he continues to get injured, we don't got to guarantee him anything.
Yeah, it's $600,000, right? That's
so
about
it's
it.
like, I think it was a great deal. It seemed like a lot when the deal first came out, and then when you really think about it and dive into the details of it, I think it was smart. It seems like pretty much all national media, local media thought it was a fantastic deal, that we had the best trade.
Adam Rank is part of the national media. I'm just saying.
He's a dumbass.
I'm just saying. They don't get any credit.
He said he didn't like the trade. He thought it was a dumb trade anyway. So
I'm sure. They don't get any credit.
There was multiple teams, including the Kansas City Chiefs, including the Baltimore Ravens, that was trying to get Marshawn Lattimore.
Sure. Oh yeah. It's an excellent deal, I think. And like I said, Peters is not going to do something stupid like throw away that kind of capital on a player that's not going to heal properly and just on hope. So that's where I'm standing with that. I don't expect him to play this week, even simply because even if he was 100% healthy, I don't think so. It's not. He can't learn enough to be able to be part of the. You might be able to get him in for 10, 12 plays tops, but he's not going to be able to go this way.
No,
we were initially trying to get a Patriots receiver.
We were. I think we're looking into Jonathan Jones, their cornerback, but receiver really wasn't.
DJ Reed was the other one, from the Jets.
DJ Reed from the Jets, but he's going to be a free agent next year, so we could probably get him in free agency. I
did see something regarding a Patriots receiver though.
Valdez-Scantling was the one receiver that was mentioned earlier this year.
Yeah, I heard that too.
No,
so wait a minute.
I saw this on Wednesday.
All right, while Max is thinking out loud, I was talking to somebody off camera here. And so did you say we were looking at Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
Yeah, earlier in the process.
Right after I just said I trusted Peters, y'all are going to go and tell me we're looking at Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
They were looking for receiver depth, and we got Noah Brown instead.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but there were talks on Wednesday that we were talking to New England to get one that fell through. I'm trying to find the name right now.
If he fell through, who cares?
I think it was that it didn't get done before 4:00.
All right, so prior to the season, just like everybody else, we go ahead and give our predictions as to what we think is going to be the record. Scott, do you have the Big and Boss book in front of you there?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I've got it up.
What did we collectively say?
So we're at week 10 at the minute, are we?
Yeah, we're coming on week 10. We're after week 9.
Yeah.
Okay, so after week 9, Max, you had us at 5-4. Jesse, you also had us at 5-4. Sorry, John, you had us at 5-4. Jesse, you had us at 6-3, and I had us at 4-5. So yeah, big difference then.
I don't know how I'm going to handle this optimistic Jesse shit.
No, it went downhill. Like my initial picks went downhill after that. After that 6-3 start.
Well, I'm looking at the overall records for the season. We were at Max. You were at 11-6. John, you were at 9-8. Jesse, you were at 10-7, and I was at 7-10.
Let's hope we're all wrong, and we go something like 12-5 tops at the worst.
It was Kendrick Bourne who we were
really
talking to.
He's a veteran. He's been around for a long time, doing pretty much nothing. By the way, tonight's Friday.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this from Scouse and Valid Use. Oh, you lot are shit at picking projections, mate. You were with me saying 7 to 8 wins.
So what?
What are you talking about?
God. You know what, Scouse? I'll tell you what, my friend. I'm going to send you a link of a cartoon that I did back in like 2000. I don't know. Paulie, help me out. Whichever one was the one where we took all the ESPN fucking experts, all the experts all around the goddamn dial and what their predictions were and how fucking off, how totally, completely bad they are at all of that shit. So if anybody's going to sit here and look at me and say, you can't predict the future, I'm going to go, the fuck's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? That's right. All right, so let's see here. So we're going to go ahead with that. We're going to take the first. So we got the Steelers this weekend. We'll talk about that game in a little bit, so we won't even pick the winner right now. All right, at the Eagles. This is assuming everything stays relatively the same in terms of injury and all of that.
Yeah, like right now, I have us at a loss on that game.
It's Philly.
Be in Philly, short week. I think we have a tough game on Sunday. I think we're going to be a little bit sore going into that game. Only 4 days rest, so I do have us at a loss there.
Now Ken is listening, and he is definitely a senior citizen like me. Now, when you say sore, does that mean that we're going to be hurting or we're going to be upset about something?
Sore. Okay.
Because, back in the old days, people got sore about shit. And for my reference there, hey, I got a new sound effect. That was for Max when he lost to Scouse for the first loss in the...
I think I might lose to him this weekend.
All right, let's see here. I did have a thought, and I can't remember what it was. So please, let's go continuing along here with Philadelphia. Scott, you think we're winning that game or losing that game? Next Thursday night.
Against Philly?
Next Thursday.
No, I don't think we're winning it. I think it's going to be a loss.
Assuming everything stays the same.
But I think we're winning. I think we're winning Sunday, but I think we'll lose on Thursday.
All right, you're writing this down in the Big and Boss book, I expect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see. Max, what do you think? Are we beating Philly next Thursday night?
I think so. I really.
All right.
I don't see why.
Optimistic Max.
Yeah, but everything regarding everything we're saying.
He's optimistic.
They have the same thing. They're on a short week as well.
Yeah, but they're playing against a Dallas Cowboys team.
Yeah, but they're on the road. So they're not going
third string offense in the game after halftime.
They're not going to get home.
Cooper Rush can play, dude.
They're not going to get home until 1:00 in the morning.
I did say
Monday
that.
Morning.
That is
Cooper
true.
Rush. Cooper Rush did win games when he played.
I know
time.
he's not terrible.
And I mean, frankly, this is going to be a big tell just to see for Dallas where that problem lies. Is it Dak or is it the play calling? But
how about the fact that they don't have a running back that can do anything? I swear to God, they don't have a running back that can do anything.
Rico Dowdle can catch the ball after getting it knocked around 30
Dowdle,
times.
yeah, I mean, but you ain't giving it to Dowdle 18 times a game. He's not going to survive.
Like I see.
I just want to, while you're saying that, just let me remind everybody. Remember all you Cowboy fans in preseason were showing us your 5'1" running back, whatever the fuck his name was, and look how he's running through guys that aren't allowed to tackle him.
Deuce Vaughn.
What's his name?
Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn. He's called Deuce because he's the size of a turd.
But I look at it in terms of Philly, and they're going through the same thing we are, and they didn't improve at the deadline. I don't see why we couldn't just get up there and sneak a win out. Scott, did I say that we would win that game preseason?
Week 11, you have it as a loss.
Okay. Well, what do I know? I think I was splitting with Philly.
We all had the Philly game as a loss. This week 10, we had Max for a win, John for a win, Jesse for a loss, me for a win.
All right. Philadelphia, I'm going to go ahead and put us down for a loss. Just because it's up in Philly, and I think we're going to split with them, but I think we're going to split at home. Look, boys, I'm going to call it. I think we're going undefeated at home this year. I don't think we're losing at home this year.
We don't, weird stuff happens when we play Philly at night.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing, is just weird
Bad
stuff.
things happen, mostly.
Taylor Heineke went up there and beat the undefeated Eagles.
Yeah,
that's right.
The one that really comes to mind is the game when T.O. got his alligator arm problem against Sean Taylor. That was nice. Mind you, that was 20 years ago, but that's just the big thing in my brain is, we had no shot to win that game, and we went up there and beat him.
That was so cool. Sean had him so scared. I don't know if anybody really remembers or not, but there was a play in the first quarter when T.O. went out with the Eagles, and he went out and he did an out towards the sidelines, and Sean lit him up. Sean punched him a couple of times, but Sean lit him up on the sidelines, man. Fucking legal hit, made him drop the ball. Another play, first quarter, they sent T.O. deep on a post, and it didn't happen. It was incomplete. And coming back, Sean just fucking punched him. Just the camera caught it, but the referees didn't see it. They were just walking back, and Sean just kind of... It was like that thing in the Avengers when the Hulk punches Thor. Right? When he just kind of goes... Sean just stuck him. And after that, T.O. was afraid of him forever.
because I also think, Dad, I don't know if you saw this, but so Brian Robinson's been ruled out for Sunday.
Yeah, it's a big injury report.
I think that Robinson is getting held out as well for the Philly game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Brian Robinson loves to run on Philly.
All right.
I'm gonna run through because we're gonna be.
We need to run through the injury report.
No, hold on. I want to run through the rest of these games real quick.
Yeah, we'll get to the recon in a minute.
Cowboys, I think we're gonna win.
We're gonna win.
The Titans, we're gonna win that game.
We're
gonna win against the Saints. Now the Eagles at home.
We're gonna win.
Yep.
I think
we're splitting, so that's a win for me.
I guess we're gonna win that one. I think we're gonna lose to the Falcons and win to the win against the Cowboys. Max, your turn.
Regarding who we have?
Yeah, the rest of the games.
So I mean, we after the Titans games are bye week, which can't come at a better time.
Cowboys. You didn't pick the Cowboys.
Oh, Cowboys. We're gonna beat Cowboys and we're gonna beat Tennessee. Tennessee defense is the only thing that's worries me.
All right, what about the Saints?
Well, keep in mind we have the bye week too. I think we'll beat the Saints.
Eagles at home.
Eagles at home.
Split with the Eagles. So I'll say we lose at home.
What's the matter with you? Falcons at home.
We'll beat Atlanta.
Cowboys on the road.
Cowboys.
Resting
as of right now, assuming we're not going to rest, I think we're going to beat Dallas on the road.
Yeah, I think. That's.
I mean, I at this point right now, I could see this team having 4 or 5 losses max.
So what does that make? I got 13 wins.
13, 12, 13.
Look here, I got to tell you. All right, so because if you're writing mine down,
that doesn't include the Pittsburgh game.
Right, we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh game next.
All right, John. What's your?
The only game I see us losing from here on out is next week on Thursday night against the Eagles. So we're winning. Yeah, wow, all you want there, buddy. I'm buying in.
7.
So yeah, 7 more.
We're going to have a stinker or a couple.
I think we could have plenty of stinkers in this. We could have 2 stinkers against the Cowboys and win by 30 points.
Well, I think we're about to have 2. We're going to have 2 stinkers in a row.
Well, we could have a stinker in a row against the Titans and the Saints and still walk away with a win.
14-3, John.
Yes. Before we pick the Steelers game. Tell me why not, Scotty. It's your turn.
Okay, well, I mean, Pittsburgh, it's going to be very tough.
No, we're not talking Pittsburgh yet.
Okay, so Philly, no. Dallas, yes. So Tennessee, definitely. Yep. New Orleans, yes. Philly, again, don't know.
I know. He is
like,
on the Saints?
Dude,
no,
the Saints
because we always, yes, they are, but we always have one of these games where you're completely expected to win and we fuck it up.
That's
Ron Rivera.
That's going to happen.
That was the old fucking team.
Right, but you're the one that just separated has 2 stinkers.
Yeah. And that's going to be against a team we're playing on Sunday that we're not talking about yet, and then Philly.
Where's my
okay, so here it is. 1, 2, hang on, I'll go back. So Philly, 1, 2, 3, 4. Atlanta, probably not. Dallas, resting players.
Why not?
So that Atlanta game is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
why not?
It's going to be a shootout.
It's going to be who's. It's going to be. Are they? How hungry are they for playoffs? Versus
who's healthy?
Are we?
I got 5 wins. I got 5 more wins.
All right. So that's where we're sitting. We're sitting pretty good with that. All right, so let's do the recon real quick. I don't have a graphic for the recon yet, but that's a new segment that we're get ready to do, which is just some general game information. We're getting into our Steelers preview now. So our officials are going to be Brad Rogers' crew. Brad Rogers, do we have some information on this referee?
Yeah, Brad Rogers, I think he became a referee, full-time referee. He was a line judge for many years and became.
He always says it's a friendly day in the neighborhood.
He does.
It's his second year as a crew leader, and this crew throws a shit ton of flags. So expect a lot of yellow flags. I think they are the most by any official crew in the NFL.
More than hockey?
They did Pittsburgh game 1 through 14 flags. Atlanta and Pittsburgh, Carolina and Charger 13 flags. Arizona, Detroit, 13. Chicago Rams, 16. Kansas City, New Orleans, 11. Tennessee and Indianapolis, 16, and Vegas and Cincinnati 13. They've thrown a total of 95 flags this season
in 8 games or 9 games. Excuse me. Well, I heard double digits in every single one of those games. Yeah. So I guess.
Yeah, agree, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah. Brian St. Just will get a few. Well, I'll tell you what.
Benjamin.
Thank you, valid user.
Brian?
At least somebody agrees.
Well, I think that's Jesse's burner account. That's what I think right there. Look, if the dude throws a lot of flags, you're just going to have to watch it on the offensive line as far as I'm concerned. The ones that you're going to get for pass interference, they're going to throw it no matter what. It's so subjective. So it always has been. So go ahead.
To build on that real quick, last season his crew called the most OPIs out of every crew.
Okay. We benefited from one of those last week, so let's hope we can do that again. All right. So what else do we?
Is Scotty? Scotty, you going to be our weatherman?
I will be at the game.
I can do that, yeah.
Scott's the weatherman. And now for the weather, let's turn to Scott Hartley. Scott, what are you doing?
I'm not having a poo.
Oh, well, that's good.
So looking at the weather for Sunday's game then, to start us off at kickoff time, the real feel is 13 degrees Celsius. That is the equivalent to 57 degrees Fahrenheit.
You picked him to be the weatherman.
Scott,
and the...
Can I make a quick request real quick?
Celsius.
Yeah.
Can you give me the weather at 9 a.m. out there so I know what I need to wear?
Yeah, I can do that for you. Just give me 2 seconds.
Kim's
So there is a
54%
54% chance of humidity. The indoor humidity is slightly dry at 37%. The air quality is fair. UV index is low, so there's no reason for sunscreen. Wind is 9 miles an hour. Wind gusts of 15 miles an hour, and a rain probability at kickoff time of 19%. 100% cloud
90?
coverage. Yeah, 19%.
19%. Now, goddamn it!
19.
How the fuck do they come up with 19?
I have no idea.
Right.
And 100%.
Is it like a
cloud coverage.
25% chance? It's 19.
At kickoff, it's 57 Fahrenheit for those. Max at 9 a.m. It is 47 Fahrenheit.
Okay. It's going to be chilly. Then it's going to get up to 61 degrees, and then there is a 65+% chance of rain.
So
The rain will start at around 2 p.m. 2 p.m. There.
So 2:30. We're calling 2:30. The Bleeding Burgundy podcast has spoken. All right, so there's the weather for the game there. What else do we have here?
So injuries.
All right, go ahead. Give us the
For us. So already ruled out Marshawn Lattimore, Cornelius Lucas, Brian Robinson, and Colson Yankoff.
Colson Yankoff?
Colson Yankoff was limited on Thursday and DNP'd today with a hamstring.
That kind of ruined my week.
Jesse's Castle Wentz was the over in the...
Yankoff.
And then
The
Andrew
next
Wiley
pass.
and Austin Seibert are questionable.
They signed another kicker to the practice squad today.
They did.
Zane Gonzalez.
The most, besides Brian Robinson, which that's going to hurt us bad.
Yes.
Wiley has been dealing with a shoulder injury, and much to Schaus's chagrin, he's been playing very well on the right side, and he plays very well against T.J. Watt. At least his matchups when he was in Kansas City. That is going to be bad if he wind up not going to be able to go.
Because then it's going to be Trent Scott at right tackle.
Yeah. So you just mark up 10 sacks for fucking T.J. Watt if he doesn't go.
Yeah. Or Jaden running for his life all day.
Wiley hasn't given up a sack to T.J. Watt.
To give you a little context as well, the kicker that we signed to the practice squad, Zane Gonzalez on his career is 91 out of 113. He has not really kicked since 2021 when he was in Carolina. And I mean so 91 out of 113 is an 80.5% success rate for one game.
The problem with me is ever since I watched Titanic, I don't trust people named Zane. I know it's probably over.
Billy
Zane was the guy that fucking threw kids off the boat, or threw kids off the fucking boat.
Zane's career long is 57, which
that
puts
was a
him
joke
in
for Kim.
Okay, good job.
Thank you.
Give you a golf clap.
Thank you.
In his career, he's had a tackle. We have a kicker that can tackle somebody.
That's not a good thing.
But
no.
And then everyone else on our injury report is a clean slate of health. That includes Dorrance Armstrong. That includes Tyler Biotish. That includes Dante Fowler. So relatively healthy going into this game.
But the two you don't want to see is Seibert and Wiley. They're worrying me. Them and we knew about Brian Robinson's hamstring. Yeah.
The questionable aspect, though, is it's promising. It's not a doubtful; it's a questionable. Which
I thought he was down as doubtful. Was Wiley?
No,
Seibert kind of just cropped up during this week. What's the matter
Seibert's got a right hip. He didn't practice Wednesday and then was limited Thursday.
Well, I hope he's got a right hip. Otherwise, he's going to walk funny.
Scouts in our chat and about the third quarter said, why Seibert holding his hip? And Jesse was like, oh, it's okay. I think that's just how he was standing. And then we looked at it and it was like, yeah, he was on the TV, like holding his side of his hip. So I don't know how he's injured it, but it must be something. It's something to do with his hip anyway.
But he's practiced 2 days in a row, not in terms of a full, but a limited. So
Kime said he kicked multiple kicks today. So
yeah, but the question is, with how did he look after he kicked him? Is he holding that hip? Because you're right. I remember when Scouse said that. So shout out to Scouse for being correct about that. He noticed that. Scouse, I think, was probably just fishing for business. He spots people getting hurt all the damn time.
So this Steelers team, they got a good defense. This is going to be the best defense that we've faced all year long.
Absolutely.
They got a maniac in T.J. Watt. That is, Defensive Player of the Year.
Is it High Smith the other side as well?
And remember too, they just went and traded for Preston
Zadarius
Smith.
Yeah,
not Zadarius, Preston Smith.
Preston
Smith. I mean, he's
a good pass rusher, and as a pass rusher, he can step right in.
But with the platoon that they're going to put him in, he's not going to. Because in Green Bay, he's been the every down starter.
He also plays the same position as Watt, which means that they're going to be able to keep fresh legs with quality pass rushers coming in on the right side.
What I was hopeful
Am I right about that,
in this
Max?
game,
yes.
Thank you.
What I was hopeful about in this game is if Brian Robinson played, because you can power run against this team.
We saw Chris Rodriguez was capable of it. This could be the Derek Forrest move that you've been calling forever.
Yeah, it's got to be, because Rodriguez...
No, Mikhail Walker, Michael Davis before him. Come on now. There's other teams. Way. There's other players on this roster as well who probably shouldn't be on the roster.
Forrest would be my first move, 100%, because of the amount of safeties that we have on the roster. We don't have that many cornerbacks.
He hasn't dressed all season.
And
maybe
we have
once.
4 linebackers on roster.
We're gonna send
be the first to go.
Get tomorrow to the active roster, which is going to be
yeah. And I've got to eat a bit of crow here. The way I read that last week with you when you gave us your breakdown about could he go back down, could he go back up on the practice squad, we all thought that was that. We would have to release him and then re-sign him.
And he's go back down to the practice squad.
And it's just, I get that, but you think to yourself, well, he has gone back down. No, he hasn't.
He is.
He has gone back down to the practice squad.
He is.
But how do we, if we elevate him again, as you said last week, Max, we have to sign him.
When did he go back down to the practice squad?
Monday.
I think it was Monday because
he was a game day elevation. You get sent back on immediately.
Okay. So honestly, I think they got to bring him back up. He ran too well last week to be able to. They have to
because of Robinson's injury history.
Exactly.
You have to.
You got to re-sign him.
And we still got Wiley as well as the other running back that's on the practice squad.
Yeah, but Wiley isn't the same running back.
He's not the same running back.
I think Rodriguez showed it again.
Rodriguez
last week,
is a little bit more powerful than because you need both Eckler and McNichols. They're similar, especially similar stature, similar type of runners. But you need another power back, and I think Wiley is more towards
the elusive
two guys
catch him back.
than they are
not only
Brian
that,
Robinson.
but look, Rodriguez came in last week, and he showed us what we were seeing last year, which is the ability to find creases, hit it hard. He runs violently and runs angrily, but he can also run to daylight when it's time to. I haven't seen him break anything, but I don't care. I think he got 40 yards last week on something like 6 or 7 carries. He did really well. And as far as I'm concerned, if Robinson is out, which he is, yeah, I think he's got to come back up, and you've got to find a space for him because I don't want to cut him. I think with Robinson's hamstring, because hamstrings, like I said earlier, they can linger.
Every one of us was talking about cutting him in training camp.
I know, but he's shown it. That's the thing. He's proven it. And I think we were talking about cutting him in training camp because I think we were more interested in Wiley than Rodriguez. I think we were more interested. It was
also just a numbers game. You don't really keep 4 running backs.
Yeah.
True. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, when we were thinking about running backs, we knew who we wanted to keep, but we don't have that home run back still.
So he went for 4.7 yards a carry, 11 carries, John, for 52 yards last week.
That's not bad at all. I'll take that.
He was our top rusher. He was our top rusher last week.
And I mean, he got a couple of carries that were, 10, 12, 15 yards. He had a few of them. He had one of those cutbacks that looked like one of the old Mike Shanahan zone blocking. He just popped that thing right open and got 12, 15 yards on it. It was nice.
So moving to we got to establish a run game, but moving to the other side of the ball, we got to stop the run too. Russell Wilson,
and Najee Harris has been moving.
Yeah, they've since Russell Wilson has come in, they have transitioned to be a passing offense.
They have
one game,
games as well too, but. Russell Wilson likes to throw these fucking what they call moon balls, just throw them up to fucking basically 50-50. Pickens is a very good 50-50
Yes,
ball.
he is.
Gotcha. And then they just signed Mike Williams, who, again, he might break his toe the first fucking
his toenail.
Hit drive and be out the rest of the game. But still, if he's in the game, he's good at that too. And then they got this really good slot receiver, Calvin Austin. He's 5'9". Kid's good, man. Yeah. It sucks that Lattimore isn't playing because we could certainly fucking use him in this game. This game kind of worries me a little bit because they're going to be able to run the ball and they're going to be able to take go over top. Even though teams haven't been going over top on one, I think they're going to try to go over on top, and they have the big receivers to outmuscle someone like Sanders still and someone like Igbenogany, and then. St. Juice is probably going to be like either pass interference
a walking penalty.
Yeah,
so he's going to do what he's been doing, which is give a big cushion and just not get beat over the top.
That's what we're going to do. Is we're going to sell out to stop the run or the pass. I'm sorry. I'm going to let them run between us, and then when we get down inside the 20, that's when they're going to actually try and make a play. That's what we've been doing the entire season, and there's no reason to change.
We're going to let Najee Harris run on us, which is fine. But
it's not a matter of
point. This is also a better offense than
what I can tell you, as someone who's watched every single Steelers game, within the first drive, you're going to be able to tell what type of game you'll get out of Najee Harris. There are some games where he actually pushes it and he actually puts effort in and runs people over, and there's going to be times where he just doesn't. He gets into the hole and he kind of tip-taps and he gets tackled for a 2-yard gain.
Okay, that'll be nice to see. I think Jeremy Chin can go in and rattle his fucking teeth. What about you, Scott?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, when he's running down, I think that's something that you can play him further down in the box. But also at the same time, I'm looking at this defense. They do not give up points. This is in the Steelers. Yeah. They're very good against the run.
That's how they've won games.
They're the top defense in the entire NFL in red zone efficiency. So. This is going to be a very tough game, no doubt about it.
The last 3 games, Najee Harris has averaged over 107 yards per game.
Now you're saying that, but I understand where Max is
total
coming
yards
from around.
That's rushing yards.
Rushing yards. Now I know. I don't know if it was you, Jesse. I think it was your point. It may have been Max's. I'm not sure. So apologies if I'm getting it wrong. But look at the amount of rush that they gave up to Tyrone Tracy. Now, Tyrone Tracy, we know, can hurt you, but he was on course for 175 yards in the first half. So the Steelers do not really defend the run that well, but they're very good at stopping the pass. So they've kind of got the similar sort of defensive style to what we have. We sell out for the run to stop the pass, and it's exactly the same for them.
It's going to be interesting to see what Cliff Kingsbury cooks up against this defense, because they are a good defense. They're really.
I could see us using a lot more Jaden Daniels as designed and disguised runs to be able to try to break them apart.
To what the Giants did to them, where every single play they're going to have 2 chips on each of the edge rushers, except maybe 5 to 6 plays, which is what the Giants did when they didn't. And when they did that, they still had the quick hitters, so that Watt and Highsmith were just so off guard by it. Watt still had 2 sacks, but those plays that he had was because Daniel Jones tucked the ball.
We got to also remember Tomlin and his staff is a lot better than Daboll and his staff too.
Yeah, and if you look at them coming off the bye, which they've just come off, they're 14-3 off the bye.
Very good against rookie quarterbacks. Even though Jaden Daniels isn't, we can't really. Can we even call him a rookie? I mean, the way he's been playing.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
technically he is, but
he's so advanced as a processor, as a passer, even as a runner. It's really hard to call Jaden a rookie.
Adam Rank just had an aneurysm because you said Jaden Daniels is advanced.
If you really did, that would be a nice thing. I don't really want to wish anything bad on Adam Rank, like an aneurysm, but a hemorrhoid would be nice. All right, so let's pull up some Commanders' battle plans here. Okay, so what do the Commanders need to do? What are our keys to victory? What are our plans that we're going to need to do to be able to win this football game against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Max, we'll start with you.
I say this every week, is establish the run game. Get them spread out, get those edge rushers off looks, and then maximize the play action game as much as you can.
Scotty? Sorry, go ahead. Finish up.
Sorry, we're not in a position where we're going to be able to stop them as often. It's going to be more of an outscoring aspect, and we can outscore this offense.
I tend to agree with that.
Couldn't agree more. But the other thing I would say is longer drives, time of possession. We lost the time of possession battle last week against the Giants. Got to keep going with this run game. It's about running the ball on Sunday. Have to run the ball and run it hard and well.
All right, what about you, Jesse? What you got?
Dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and do not let the Steelers get ahead.
My battle plan key to victory is that you got to stop the run. All right, it's one thing to say, okay, we have to establish the run, but if we let them do what the Giants did in the first half and control the clock the way that they did, I think they had like 12 minutes of the first quarter.
Yeah.
The Steelers aren't going to leave that alone. They're not going to come out in the second half and mysteriously just say, okay, well, we're going to throw the ball, or Norving it, as I like to call it for you older
You're
folks.
Not going to see the Steelers, though, only have four pass attempts going into halftime.
Well, that's true.
And that's what I mean by better coaching. You know, I think the Steelers are going to have a better game plan coming in for the offensive side of the ball than the fucking Giants.
The Giants' problem was that they weren't able to capitalize on it. But if you were the Giants, why would you have stopped running?
That's what I mean.
Right.
And they turned the ball over.
Yeah.
And then
they did.
Stopped running coming in out of half. I mean, if
right, they changed their game plan at halftime.
It's not going to change the game plan if the game plan is working. And
exactly.
That's what I mean by dominating the line of scrimmage. You know, run the ball and stopping the run for our both offense and defense respectively.
That's my point right there. We've got to stop their run, because otherwise they can control the clock and they will not be as likely to turn the ball over as a goofball redneck frickin' inbred like Daniel Jones. Instead, we have a guy that can actually play. I think Russell Wilson is showing that what he did in Denver was an anomaly. The guy can play. Yeah, he doesn't shit but once a month, which I think is weird, but he can play. Go ahead, Jesse.
He's still doing high knees in the middle of that plane.
Yeah, he's a weird guy, but he can play. All right, so there's our battle plans. There's our that's kind of. Hey, what do you like? You like that?
I like
that. We like that.
That's good. Yeah,
people in the chat, y'all like that? And by the way, if you're watching on Twitter, come on over. Come on over to chat with us. Talk with us. Scotty will talk with you. He'll talk with just about anybody. All right, so coming off our battle plans, we got our man on a mission. Who needs to have a big game this weekend for the Commanders to be able to win this football game? Jesse, we'll start with you.
I'm going to say Benjamin St. Juice.
I can see him rubbing the lamp right now. Oh, Jeannie, please.
Scouse just bought a plane ticket to come whip your ass.
Scouse is on the floor. He didn't even hear what you just said. Scouse fell off his headphones. He's on the floor.
The weak link in this on this defense is Benjamin St. Juice. You've got to have a decent game. As far as don't give a fucking penalty, okay, and break up one of these fucking moonballs.
Don't give up on penalty.
Like Russell will give the ball away. He
will
just throw it up. Fucking be there, man. Just fucking be there. Either take it away or fucking smack it out. And if you do that lockdown, fucking
he hasn't
sign.
Yeah, he hasn't done it this year.
Come to Landover and punch you in your Canuck face.
Hey, he was talking to Marshawn Lattimore this week. We saw it on the
Did you hear
short
what
video.
He said?
What?
Marshawn Lattimore, yeah, he goes with the number one receivers just like I do.
Just like I do, right? That's
No,
why.
it
Where last week when Dan Orlovsky was talking about, or no, somebody was talking about our defense, and no problem, they just got to cover it here because 25's back here, and I'm like, that's where you got the problem, right there. Where were we? Man on a mission.
Not really. It's who needs to have a good game, and I'm saying Benjamin St. Juice needs to fucking have a good game. That's what man on a mission is.
That's some wishful thinking. You're
Fucking fat.
so stupid. I don't know. I just found. How do you know this man has never been late?
Andy Burrows when he gets bored.
I can't say what I'm thinking.
The GoPro that's duct taped to the wall is what makes it hilarious for me.
Yeah, but even so, like, how does that even a Guinness World Record? Like,
Dude, you can anything.
Talking
The
about?
longest piece of freaking, I don't know, Twizzler you can shove up your ass is a world record. The Guinness people stopped having any integrity years ago. Right, that's enough of that nonsense.
yeah, definitely.
All right, Max, who is your man on a mission this week?
Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner. All right, Bobby. You got anything you want to say about that?
The video or Bobby Wagner?
Either one.
For Bobby Wagner, just be able to diagnose what Russell Wilson's calling. You know, you've played with him for years. You know how he likes to play the game. Just do what you always have done. Stop the run and just let the pass let the pass people behind you make the plays on the ball. Worry about what you're responsible for.
The Arthur Smith offense isn't complicated either.
No.
They want to run the ball down your throat and then throw the ball over the top. It's a really simple game plan.
I mean, Jesse, you want to tell me that's every offensive coordinator, though?
I mean,
Not necessarily.
Cliff Kingsbury.
No, not necessarily.
No, when they're in 13 personnel, they're running the ball. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. They're not passing the ball.
Well, my man on a mission is going to be pass rusher. It's Dorrance Armstrong. Get after Russell Wilson. All right. I know that we're going to give
He's
up
been
some.
quiet lately.
He hasn't played in 2 weeks.
Get after
He
him.
played last week, didn't he?
For like
Couple
maybe
plays.
I think he had like 15, 20 snaps. He didn't play the whole game.
He wasn't very loud. We didn't hear him.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Him or Clellan Farrell.
Who was that?
Any of them. Any
Who
of our
was that,
defensive
John?
ends. Get after Russell Wilson. That's who it was. Get after Russell Wilson.
That's Nicky Javala, is what you just said.
I'm not even going to try right now.
Why do you think my name is just one syllable?
It's not. All right. Well, now I've completely lost track of what the hell I was talking about. This moment
sure
of
you
lunacy
interrupt
brought to
Scotty
you
again.
by. I'm going to have to just show him again. There you go. That's
They're
why
not
that
paying
happened.
us.
My
Right.
mate's,
Go ahead, Scott.
my
Well,
man
I
of
mean,
the Yeah, well, my man on a mission is going to be Andrew Wiley, who has got to stop, obviously, TJ Watt from that side. It's going to be very tough for him to do. Brandon Coleman, obviously, as well. I mean, basically, you got to think, you said, Jesse, the offensive line, but specifically, Andrew Wiley's got to have a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. Coleman's got to have a good game, too. They've got a pass
They've
rusher.
got good pass rushers. Yeah.
Right. They've got really good defense.
All right, I'm sure, because Cliff has been doing a really good job of protecting Jaden and Chippen, and they're going to have a plan for TJ Watt. I'm sure they are.
Last week, they ran a sweep in which you could see behind it. I saw behind it. Right, I think it was the play right before they gave Diami Brown his one touch per game where he gets a good 15, 20 yards. But they ran this sweep, and right behind it, you could see Diami Brown cutting through this little tunnel that they had over there that I guarantee you they're going to pop this week. They saw what I saw, which was there's 40, 50 yards right there, and I can see Diami Brown. I love them. They give him these chances right around the 35-yard line, and we get down to the 10. I'm waiting for him to pop one into the end zone, and he's going to do it this week. So, all right, let's get some score predictions here. Go ahead, Jesse. What do you think is going to happen this week? Now, Scott, get the Bacon Boss book out. This gets added into our totals for the year.
I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. If you kind of look back, we have a chance in this game. But if you look back at what the Steelers have done, they scored 30 against the Raiders and 30 against the Jets. The Jets game was just a fucking clusterfuck, and the Raiders are the Raiders themselves.
They're a clusterfuck, yeah.
But I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring game. I'm going to say 23-21 Steelers.
Max, what do you got?
Based off the same context that Jesse said, I'm going to say 24-20, but I'm going to have us winning it. I think we're going to have something that pulls out in the end of the game to take the lead. I think we'll be down 20-17 for the last drive and take the lead.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Max. I think it's going to come down to last minute. Someone's going to pull ahead.
Plus, I'll be there.
Yeah, hope you get a win. Scott, what do you got?
I got a 27-24 win. Austin Seibert walk-off field goal.
That's nice. For once, I'm not very optimistic. I think we lose this game 26-24, and I think it's a walk-off field goal from them that's going to get it for us, or that's going to drop us down. I hate to say it, but we need a little smack in the face, keep us healthy, because I got us going 1-7 or 7-1 after that.
I got us losing 2 in a row, and then we go on a tear. I think we might slip against the Falcons game is going to be fun. I think that's going to be a really good game.
It depends on which Falcons show up, though, man, because their offense is loaded, but they don't all show up. Kirk doesn't find all of them.
It's going to depend on how they are, because if they're out of it, they're going to be bad. But if they're in the neck of it then, because that's week 17, right?
16. We've closed out with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So 17, I think.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's going to be the thing, is just where they are in the playoff hunt, because we all have seen how Kirk is when he's in it and how Kirk is when he's out of it.
But at the same time, even with Kirk in it or out of it, or all the other Kirk things that you can talk about, it's like sometimes, dude, their entire offense is stacked. You've got Pitts at tight end. You've got Bijan Robinson, and Keith just got another tickle. You've got Darnell Mooney. You've got Drake London. He should be healthy.
Yeah, it's a hit pointer. He'll be.
But they've got they've got Ray McLeod, who is also able to turn things out. It's just a matter of they're so inconsistent as to how often they're able to put it all together. And I think that our offense is not having that problem.
I really do think we need this game, because we're fighting with the Eagles right now.
Who do the Eagles play this week?
Dallas.
They're playing the Cowboys
in Dallas,
and then they have the Rams. That's going to be an interesting game if the Rams are healthy. But then they have the Ravens, the Panthers, the Steelers, Cowboys, and Giants. So I think they could end up. I don't think they're going to beat the Ravens. But that Rams game, it's going to be neck and neck. We really need this game to stay in the division race, because, we might get swept by the Eagles. I don't think we are, but the Eagles are a good team.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think right now, if you look at it, it's us, the Lions, and the Eagles. The Lions right now currently far and away looking like the Super Bowl
We'll see
team.
with the 49ers now that McCaffrey's back and they're starting to get a little bit healthy.
We'll see. I would say this. God dang it. I'll beat them Eagles for you. We're all in, baby. Everything's all fucked up down here in Dallas, but we're all in with Cooper Rush.
But hell, the Eagles almost lost to the Jaguars almost came back on them. So
Yeah, they did.
Right. See, this is the thing about the Eagles. I don't ever know what to expect from them. They have a team that should be able to roll over everybody. Saquon Barkley can do unbelievable things, and I don't give a fuck anymore about his reverse backwards hurdle over some guy.
That was a badass play.
It was badass for sure, but the ones that are, to me are badass is when he gets to the outside and runs fucking 25 yards and nobody touches him to the end zone. That dude is when he's healthy, in my opinion, he's the best running back in the NFL. Sure. He's the best running back I've seen in forever, in a long fucking time. It's from Penn State on. So, but they don't always all put it all together.
Wait a second. Did you just say Saquon Barkley is the best running back you've seen in how long?
One of them. One of the best running backs I've seen in forever. Just pure running back.
A healthy Saquon. I don't know who had.
There's the number 28 from Minnesota that wants to butt into this conversation.
There's plenty of guys that want to butt into the conversation. But that's when you're talking about. You're talking about 28 from Minnesota, all right? I also saw Emmitt Smith. I saw Barry Sanders. I've seen the big ones, and he's in that conversation. When he's healthy,
yeah.
I'm telling you, if he didn't have his two knee injuries in fucking New York, coming out of college, there's not too many of them that I can say I saw better than him coming out of college.
I mean, he was a running back that was the number 2 overall pick, and you never see that.
Correct.
Well, you don't see it anymore, but even still, the dude was just that good. He's that talented. That's why I'm hoping for an ankle injury. No, I'm
looking
not
at
really.
and another thing about going back to the Steelers, looking at their let me pull up their numbers.
They haven't beaten anyone over the last 3 games.
They really haven't. I mean,
no, they haven't.
If you want to say the Chargers.
But I don't. We can't use that.
But that Chargers game, Herbert got hurt.
Yeah, he did.
That's true too.
That was when Herbert got hurt.
Did he hurt himself, or did they hurt
Colts? They lost to the Colts, and that
was the game when Richardson got hurt and Joe Flacco came in.
Flacco came in.
So whatever. The thing is, right? But you look at
a 40-year-old quarterback came in and mopped him up.
I'm talking about the Steelers' defense. All right, look, the Broncos only scored 6. Okay,
they suck.
The Cowboys, they lost to the Cowboys. The Cowboys scored 20.
Terrible football team.
Falcons scored 10. Chargers scored 10. The Colts with Flacco scored 27. The Raiders scored 13. The Jets only scored 15. The Giants scored 18. So they're not giving up very many points.
Neither are we. We average giving up 21 per game.
They're not giving up points, and they're the best team in red zone efficiency in the entire NFL.
And we're not very great at red zone efficiency. I think we're like 22nd or something like that.
Looking at that,
can this defense keep this offense from scoring? I mean, we are outscoring other teams. And as I said before, like last week, I looked at it and I thought, never ever in my mind was I watching that game and thinking we're ever in any sort of danger whatsoever, because I always think that we're going to score. But it's just, can we convert it into 7 rather than 3? That's the killer.
Nobody has consistently stopped this offense yet. And until somebody does, I'm not going to think anybody can, right? And now that doesn't mean that won't happen, and it might happen this week, but nobody has yet. We average giving up 21 points. What was his name? Valid User said earlier, how are we going to stop George Pickens? Who's going to stop George Pickens? That's a valid question. But that's why I picked Dorrance to be my player of the game, my man on a mission, the defensive line. Get after Russell Wilson. That's how you stop that over-the-top stuff, is to get him down. Get him quick. Get after him, smack him around, hit him. Make him shit his pants. The dude hasn't shit since October, right? We're a week into November here. The dude hasn't shit probably since well before Halloween. So let's hit him. They're wearing yellow pants. Let's make him have to go into the locker room and change.
Red on red as well. Burgundy on burgundy.
Yeah, we look like we're wearing pajamas. I don't like that look. I never like. You got to have some contrast.
Do you know the first time we ever wore burgundy on Burgundy?
No.
Steelers.
It was a long time ago.
It was 2008 against Pittsburgh.
We got beat.
We did.
Yep. John Hall did something in that game, the kicker. I can't remember.
John Hall was not on the team in 2008.
I think that was John Hall.
It wasn't John Hall. You're about 5 years too late for John Hall.
Yeah, I'm 5 years too late for John Hall. Oh, well, I think that's about time to say, here we go. We're going to do our score predictions.
We've done that.
Oh, we did. All right, well, fine.
Yeah,
we're done.
just a quick one before we head out. Anyone in the Red Zone lot who is going this weekend, or anyone who is around, please go and look out for a guy called John Donnan, who is another UK guy who is coming across for the game. So if you're in the Red Zone lot, please look after him. He's a good lad. And,
Scotty, shoot me his info.
Yeah, I will do.
He'll have a name tag on that says I'm whatever.
I'm British. I'm British.
He'll be the color of the bottom of a fish, and you'll be able to know.
Yeah, and that's why you know what happens when the UK guys are in town.
We win.
Just saying.
All right, so I hope I'm wrong in our pick. So tomorrow at what time are we doing our thing? 4 o'clock.
4, yeah, if you want.
4 o'clock works good for me. Jesse, that work for you?
Yep.
Max, that work for you?
4 o'clock will work.
All right, 4 o'clock, the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. We'll pick Week 10 of the NFL football season. We come in, we give picks on the games, we give bets on the games. We talk about all kinds of different things that are going on with the football games. And that's what we like to do on Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. tomorrow right here. Monday afternoon, we'll be back at 5:30 to discuss what we saw in the Steelers game. But before that, right after the football game is over, given time to take a piss and get some fucking crackers and cheese, we will be back with the mashup, which is us, the Bunker Podcast, and the 1 Point Safety Show, giving our opinions on what we just saw, no matter what condition we're in. Until then,
real quick,
yeah,
could we do earlier tomorrow? Because at 3:30 is Georgia Ole Miss.
Fuck Georgia Ole Miss. I'm going to tell you what. You got colleges in Georgia and Ole Miss, but people down there can't read. So what the fuck are you doing? You're just turning out football players.
I won't be back till like 3 o'clock.
You can watch it while you're picking football games. That's possible.
All right.
All right, so we will see you then. And we're out of here. Go Commanders.